First two games between these teams were in Utah. The Thunder in the final 18 will play Utah two more times, and both of those will be here in Oklahoma City. So you see the officials conferring here prior to the start of this game.
Temporarily suspend the season from now. Who knows what's going to happen going forward. Reportedly, Rudy Gobert has tested positive for the coronavirus. That was obviously one of the reasons why that Utah-Oklahoma City game was suspended.
First reaction and thought when you learn that the season's been suspended.
This is crazy. This can't be true. I mean, it's not within the realm of possibilities. It seemed more like out of a movie than reality.
The game tonight has been postponed. You are all safe. And take your time in leaving the arena tonight and do so in an orderly fashion. Thank you.
Last night it was the NBA suspending its season after Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz tested positive for the coronavirus. The league will use this hiatus to determine the next steps in dealing with the pandemic.
The NBA will resume the season at Disney World in Orlando, Florida. For players on the 22 invited teams, life as they know it is about, well, let's just say it's going to be a little different. Maria Taylor takes us inside the bubble.
They're calling it the bubble. But think of it as a camp, a basketball camp, with the biggest, fastest, baddest campers in the world.
They won't dine in mess halls, but will have a dedicated Disney culinary team.
3 meals a day, 4 on game day. They have personal trainers, but no pets. They won't be sleeping in cabins, but in a resort. Teams will be assigned to one of 3 deluxe hotels based on current standings in each conference. That's right, there are still levels to this.
Announced that I was going to the bubble, and a lot of you guys wanted to know, like, how long am I going to be gone? What am I going to pack? It could be a few weeks, it could be a month, it could be 6 weeks, I don't know. So I think that anyone who actually goes into the bubble, whenever you're taking that time away from your kids and your family, and you're going into that type of environment, you're going with the expectation of going all the way. You know, these guys right now are super determined just to make it worth their while.
The NBA was shut down shortly after Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz was tested positive with the coronavirus. Shortly after this, the word spread and the entire league had to suspend their games until further notice. Although it didn't take very long for the NBA season to resume again, on Tuesday, July 7th, 2020, the NBA resumed but in a bubble status. Players were put into resorts at Orlando Disney and were unsure of how long their stay would be. It was presumed that the coronavirus would go away quickly and would pass with time like anything else, but this was not the case. With ever-increasing amounts of people being infected, it looked like the world would be like this for a while. Due to other sports and people generally being on media more often due to the slow maintenance of society due to lost jobs, people tended to surf the internet more than ever before. One of the biggest parts of the NBA bubble was the advocacy for BLM. After the murder of George Floyd, the entirety of the United States was in uproar. Many players of the NBA had advocated for the murder of George Floyd, with players like LeBron posting on social media saying, "You understand now." James wrote Tuesday, or is it still blurred to you? #StayWoke. The players would resort to boycotting the NBA and even kneeling during the national anthem, many of them deciding to go home to their families and not allowing the NBA to hold them at Orlando. Players knelt not just in solidarity, but in a powerful assertion that their voices extended far beyond the basketball court. The phrase "Black Lives Matter" wasn't just a slogan. It became a powerful declaration etched across the court, a stark reminder that the fight for justice and equality transcends the boundaries of sports. Although one player named Jonathan Isaac decided one day he didn't want to kneel, and he proceeded to stand. Putting himself out there and out of place in such a small and cramped area, it seemed crazy.
The most difficult part is to see, like, people still don't care. Being a black man in America, it's not easy, so.
In the convergence of the NBA bubble and the Black Lives Matter movement, basketball wasn't just a game. It became a platform for resilience, unity, and the unwavering pursuit of a better tomorrow. Shortly after the end of the NBA Finals, the bubble began to close, with players finally being allowed to see their families and live their normal lives, or at least what seemed normal, as the bubble may have ended. But the coronavirus was nowhere near its complete effect on the entirety of the world. The NBA bubble, a temporary refuge from the uncertainties of the outside world, showcased the power of sport to inspire, unite, and uplift. As the court emptied, it left behind a legacy of resilience, proving that even in the most challenging times, the game would go on.